Worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq hollering at you one more again. All right, folks. Thank you all for continuing to help me build the worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Please continue to like, share, subscribe, click your notification button. Tell all the folks you know, tell some folks you don't know. Let's continue to build this movement. All right. On another beautiful day, yet again, we're sort of in what Frankie Beverly and Mays describe as the golden time of day. Yeah, who knows a little something about that? All right. So, folks, many of you may have noticed, I hope you noticed, that I have started a Twitter account. All right. Now, in the past, I had stayed away from Twitter, just like Facebook and some other social network platforms that, for different reasons, I stayed away from. Let's keep that simplistic. But and I'll say that one of the reasons is censorship. You know, certain platforms are, I feel, even or perhaps I would label as the most aggressive in censorship, right? And that sort of brings me to this Twitter account that I started, right? So Elon Musk is stating that he is championing, he's going to be the champion of the cause of free speech, right? Of protecting your ability to speak your mind on whatever public forum you may be on or anywhere, right? And essentially he's speaking out against censorship. Quick example, censorship is really, I don't know if you folks have noticed or not, I'm sure you likely have, but censorship particularly in this country has gotten really rampant, right? Perfect example. In the state of California, the governor has been rather aggressive along those lines. So much so that he has introduced to the California legislature, and I'm not sure exactly how far they are on this, how far they are along in the legislative process. But essentially, there's being or proposed to be brought into law in the state of California I term it as a blatant threat, right? That if any medical doctor, and I'm paraphrasing, but if any medical doctor should speak out publicly or on a public forum in a way that is derogatory of or not in line with the quote unquote accepted medical protocols around COVID or other medical issues, we'll say, for lack of an elaborate description, they're essentially being threatened with the loss of their medical license if they speak out in that regard. That, in my estimation, folks, is like censorship of the worst kind, right? Because medical doctors are embarking on a trust between them and their patients, a trust that the patient has for them, that they will not only disclose, but will be forthcoming with information relative to their health that is in their best interest, right? And that is the motivating factor behind the information or the exchange of information between the patient and the doctor. Well, if the doctor is threatened with the loss of his license by stating something that may not be in line with the protocol, but it just happens to also be in the best health interest of his patient, well, now that doctor's in a bit of a quandary. He's got to either risk, he or she has got to either risk losing their license or risk possibly giving their patient bad, improper, or even perhaps dangerous health advice, right? Because their hands are being tied in that manner. Folks, this is not only horrible in terms of censorship infringing upon free speech, but this is downright dangerous, right? We need medical professionals to be able to have free discourse between them, their patients, and quite frankly, the public, right? So any effort to get in between that, to quell that, to minimize or to manipulate that is, in my estimation, very dangerous and way past deplorable, right? But that's a quick example of the kind of censorship that we're looking at in this country and, in fact, in the world right now in many instances. Well, Elon Musk is proposing that he will fight that sort of censorship on the Twitter platform, which is great if that's what he's going to do. You know, that's excellent. So, I have previously, admittedly, sort of lumped Mr. Musk in the same grouping, right, generally, as other folks that I would label as socioeconomic elites, right? And now he's actually stating that he's going to be doing something that is not the typical action of someone who I would term or label as a socioeconomic elite individual who would go along with that general agenda, right? Or set of agendas, should I say. And in fact, there appears to be a bit of a scuffle, if the term fits, between him and another individual who I would definitely place nefariously in the category of the socioeconomic elites, and that's Mr. Bill Gates. So there are some things that Elon Musk has done that has sort of perked up my attention, and I'm watching him. I'm watching his actions and or non-actions. I'm watching what's happening fairly closely with his majority share acquisition of Twitter and how that is impacted, right? I will say that since I have started my account, I haven't had any issues posting anything on my Twitter account. So far so good. But the general point that I'm getting around to here, and the focus of this video, is that if this is an example of one of the socioeconomic elites having at least to some degree, change of heart or coming to a certain awareness, right? Or perhaps even going through their own awakening or ascension, right? If that is the case, then they can potentially be a very advantageous, if not in some ways powerful, advocate to all of those who are also going through, to the public, to the masses, folks who are, not wanting to suffer through things like censorship, right? And other agendas and aspects of the various agendas of the social economic elite on the planet right now, most of which very negative and very much so not in the best interest of the masses, right? Of the people around the world. If this is in fact an example of that, then wouldn't it be quite a shame if such an individual had such a change take place and had a great deal to offer to assist in, what the masses, what the people want to see? Wouldn't it be a shame if we were just to blindly reject him or her with the sentiment that, hey, you're a social economic elite individual, you're in with all these guys, you'll never change, and you can never be trusted or even given an opportunity to show your true intentions, right? I think that would be a shame because, quite frankly, as I stated, there's the potential there for great advocacy, right? Not only that, what does it say about us, right? In general, if we're unable to let go of a grudge, remember I previously spoke about that. If we're unable to forgive, right? We don't have to forget. We don't have to just throw blinders on and, oh, no, I believe everything Elon Musk says. It's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is there should be a space that we allow for such individuals to express, to demonstrate, to prove that in fact they are now doing things that are in the best interest and the benefit of the masses, of the people of the world, right? In this particular instance, particularly this country. So I would say that in situations like this, or potential situations like this, with individuals who may be potentially making a drastic change in mentality, right? A drastic change in consciousness that could potentially benefit the collective, right? I think that we would be remiss, we would be making a mistake. I feel like I would be making a mistake to not allow that space for something like that to happen. After all, folks, we are not all going to awaken like that at the same time. That's not what this is about. I always say this is a process of spiritual maturation, right? Each individual must go through their own crucible, right? You must go through your own forging process to get you to where you need to be, or to how you need to be your best self and live your best life, right? It is an individual process and certainly not just synchronized to happen at the same time for all of us. So if we do not have at least that much tolerance, then how can we accept one another as we individually begin to change, develop, grow, and ultimately spiritually mature, right? Therefore, I am leaving that space open and would suggest that we all do that. Cautiously, to a degree. We have seen manipulation, trickery, etc., be a part of the wheelhouse of the socially economic elite in many different instances, right? So we can and probably should always approach such situations not with skepticism or caution, but with awareness, right? And observation, okay? But also still allowing that space, because eventually we're all going to wake up, right? Whether you do it in this lifetime or you have to die and come back in another one. We're eventually all moving toward a higher vibrational frequency existence on this planet. Our civilization on a whole is growing up, right? Growing up out of our warlike tendencies, out of our violence and pettiness, all of the negative ways that we treat one another on this planet and that we treat the planet and its other inhabitants, right? All of those low vibrational frequency things are areas of spiritual maturity that individually we will attain, often at very different times, right? But we're all actively in that process. So I would suggest, would be doing a good thing by allowing space for that to occur for everyone, even someone who we would currently label as socially economic elite. All right? Even someone who may have previously demonstrated negative vibration behavior and fit into the category. Let's still allow this. Let's be aware. Let's observe. Attentively. Let's allow place. At least that's what I'm going to do. And feel like that sort of room is a part of the maturity we all need to demonstrate as we collectively move forward. Remember, folks, this isn't about who's right, who's wrong, me against someone else against me. It's not about any of that. It's about, quite simply, spiritual maturation, both of the individual, the group, and the collective on a whole on this planet. All right? Thank you, folks. I hope that was a nice, tender nugget for thought. And I thank you for helping me to continue to do what? To build a worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq. Thank you all so much. Please continue to like, share, subscribe, click the notification button. Tell everybody you know, even tell some folks you don't know. Let's build this movement together. Thank you all. I love you all. Big King Sadiq, I'm out.